I've heard things that are just horrid about Vegas in the 80s, how they had cameras in rooms.
Well, Vegas in the 80s was all mob runs.
Vegas in the bathrooms have cameras, so as soon as you do a blast, you come out within 10 minutes, the cops are on you.
When did the mob, like, officially get out of Vegas? Like, what's
The mob is still in Vegas, just in short spurts. It's crazy. I was in New York last week, and I realized how much construction was going on. And I thought to myself, how much of that is the mob still getting? They had a tax for years, 2%. So if it's a $300 million job, do the math on that. You make a big chunk on that. Trump didn't get rich because the construction business is huge. And you go to New York now, I can't give you accurate numbers because I don't know what numbers are. But look what the average is for a square foot of concrete in New York, and look what the average is in Iowa.
I was reading something about that.
The square foot of concrete to build a building in New York,
It's insane.
the concrete is fucking insane because
So much money.
so many hands are getting fucking greased. You don't pay a job, okay? So you don't pay. It's like that one episode of The Sopranos. So what I do is break your balls. You're a GC. You don't want to pay me my money. That's fine. I send somebody from the union down there. And instead of me doing this, come on through, I got to stop you. I got to take your book. I got to call the union to see if you're paid up with your dues. We check your tire pressure. We count the load. Let's count the windows on the truck. Pretty soon you got 30 trucks backed up, and you're not making any money. That's how they'd shake you down. That's the shakedown. Oh, you pay me? Okay, the trucks go through. Don't worry what's on them. We don't care who the driver is. We don't care if he's union or non-union. It's such a dirty business at that level. That's the shakedown. So Trump would be the GC on the job. You pay, your job runs smooth. You don't pay. So 2% of it went to the mob, the concrete tax. Then they had like another 2% right off the top to bid rigging, where we give it to Joe Rogan no matter what the price is. We inflate the price. Even though Jamie comes in $3 million cheaper, I'm going to give Joe Rogan that 3 and 2 more. Joe Rogan's going to kick that 2 to me. And we're going to do the job at that $3 million profit, plus I'm going to take 2% off the top of that $3 million profit.
Really?
Now, you put something in that book that really blew my mind. You said that in 1975 and 76, in Hudson County, where I'm from, there was 40 car bombings.
Oh, man. Yeah.
40 car bombings.
Well,
and I remember one.
Bombings, not all car bombings.
Bombings.
Yeah.
In Hudson County, from 7th Street to 88th Street there, where you have Bayonne, Hoboken, that stuff, there was 41 car bombings.
That's incredible.
There was a time in the 70s in the U.S. where bombings, homemade bombs, were like the preferred weapon of organized crime. There was a bombing war in Cleveland over this Irish gangster in the 70s. It was pretty common.
In
they do a
Philly,
movie
too, they
about
made
that?
a bomb with the nails. The guy they got in, the Sicilians were good with bombs.
They did make a movie about Danny Green. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that movie called?
Kill the Irishman.
And now they're redoing it again.
Well, they're doing The Irishman,
Irishman.
different movie. Yeah.
It's fascinating stuff, man. Now, did anything surprise you when you were put? I mean, obviously you're well versed in organized crime and well versed in these kind of communities.
I think the dominant feeling people will have when they're reading this book is the dominant feeling I had when I was researching it, which was, why don't I know this shit?
Right.
I mean, this is not only a great story, really interesting, but it's a really important history. All this political connection to anti-Castro movement and the role the U.S. government might have played in it, and the idea that this criminal conspiracy organization was allowed to go on for 40 years because certain elements in the U.S. government didn't want to go after them because they were afraid it would open the lid on the Cuban relations with the anti-Castro relations with the CIA, the politics of it. That's not only interesting history, it's important history to understand a certain social, political relationship between the U.S. and Cuba, the Bay of Pigs, the residue of the revolution, the way that shaped the Cold War, shaped U.S. politics over a period of about 50 years. So I was like, why don't I know this? This is amazing. This is like almost like a hidden history. I mean, I knew what got reported in the newspapers, but you know, you lift up the rug and you look underneath the rug and you start to get into the details of it. It just makes me so aware that what we're receiving as information on a daily basis from the mainstream media and everything is a version of what's happening. There's a whole other version of what's happening that we don't see. And you usually only find out about it 30 years later, 30 years after the fact. And that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like this is, I mean, I haven't heard a peep about this. I mean, when you brought this up to me, Joey, and I was like, what? The Cuban organized crime, the corporation, like, what? What is this? Like, this is not discussed. It's just not discussed.
Well, hopefully this will change.
I grew up in it, and I never talked about it because, like I said, I have 100 stories we goof around. I ate Lucy Snorbush's pussy. And
Right.
there's a lot of shit I say in that. I don't say it because, number one, you're not going to believe me. And number two, it's not my position. I was raised, it's not for me to say. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I saw that as a child. And then what made it worse for me was moving to North Bergen. Once I moved to North Bergen, I saw what they were doing in Union City in a bigger way, which is all political. I saw things that'll make your tongue drop. That's why I don't give a fuck about politics. And when I see people talking about politics, I want to go up to them and go, if you knew what you were talking about, you wouldn't say a word because you have no idea what real politics means, how it works. If it works like that in a micro system, I can't imagine in a real. So I don't want to pay attention to it.
Now, Joey, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Because Joey and I connected when I had more or less written this book already. If I had come to you way back at the beginning of this, out of the blue, all of a sudden this guy TJ English, I don't know, I guess you knew the Westies, so you knew who I was, you knew I was legit.
Yes.
If I had contacted you and said, will you talk to me about this history, would you have done that?
With everything, it would take us a week to debrief me.
So you would have been ready and willing.
I would have told you
Now, you see what's interesting about that.
everything I would have known because somebody has to hear this fucking story. He opened up the door for me. I have a responsibility now that I have another story to add to this.
Yes, he does.
I have the nuts and bolts of how this worked.
Have you thought about an addition to this?
I think there's going to be a number of spin-off books from this. This is really...
The book that comes from this is
people will tell their personal
I will
stories.
get shot. I will end up dead.
Really?
I will end up dead. Not because of what I'm exposing.
But we know who did it.
In a you know, I grew up when I was growing up. The power in that Hudson County was the waterfront. Gee, that picture in New York City that people see, thousands of people died for that waterfront. That waterfront was controlled by Weehawken, but everybody wanted a piece of it, and North Bergen wanted a piece of it. So my 8th grade teacher was the Weehawken mayor. You ever have a teacher that was a mayor? Why would your teacher be a mayor of a town? Why? Who's ever had a teacher tweet that was the mayor of a fucking town at the same time? I did. And guess what? At the end of my 8th grade year, I saw ATF come in and pull him out of there.
Really?
He did 11 years. Okay?
What was he doing?
He was selling the waterfront. All that they knew
He was
that was
making
money.
deals.
There's a particular family that I will not mention because I won't even make it to the 405. And they were buying that property up in the
Lucchese.
60s. No. They were buying that property up in the 60s. They were posing as politicians. They chop up $30 million a month now between 4 of them.
And then sell it.
No. This is from all the property they own in Hudson County. They bought everything. Jersey City, Hoboken.
But they make their profit selling it, no?
No, they made their profit renting it.
Oh, renting it.
So
Yeah.
the 4 of them, the 4 brothers, chop up $30 million. They go their own ways. Every month they chop up $30 million. So I saw it from North Bergen. When I tell you a story, it was about Carmine Balzano. He was a cop. That I got invited into. He opened up his home to me. Then his son died. The one that was my age, so I became his pseudo son. So here I am running with the Cubans during the week. They're talking about numbers and drugs and everything, and I'm growing up in a cop's house. that's also the driver for the mayor. And he would do whatever. Like, I saw him handcuff dudes and throw beatings on them, and they called him Vinny the Torch. They called him Carmine the Torch Balzano because his job was to burn your building down. The last one he burned down, kids were like, Mister, there's smoke. And he's like, here's $10. Go get ice cream. I'll call the fire department. He never called. He faked a heart attack, so you don't have to talk to reporters. First thing you do is you fake a heart attack because you don't have to talk to reporters. That gives you 2 days to get your story straight with the attorney. You have no idea what I know.
Now, the reason I asked Joey the question about whether he would have been willing to talk is a lot of people reached out to me early in this book process. The movie rights were optioned before I even wrote the book based on the book proposal, and I got a lot of media attention. And I started getting emails from nieces and nephews of sons and daughters of key characters in this story. And these were people like Joey who had kept this personal family histories bottled up for 30 years.
Joe, I kept.
Hadn't talked to anybody about it. And now they saw I was doing this book and they needed to get it off their chest. They needed to talk about it. I met these two girls who were daughters of one of the guys who became a snitch, testified against the corporation. The family went into the witness protection program. These girls had never talked to anybody. When I went to meet with them in a bar, they weren't even sure they were going to talk to me. We were just meeting to talk about whether they were going to talk to me. I got to meet them. They talked nonstop for 3 hours. Once they thought they could trust me, they couldn't stop talking about it. They had all this stuff they needed to get off their chest.
Wow.
We were raised not to say ugats. Ugats. The first raid I saw on my mother, I was 5. They sat me on a couch and raided. My mother had already thrown the coke off the balcony to the lady downstairs. The landlord had already called her and said the cops are on the way out the door. We lived on the West Side Terrace facing New Jersey. And the lady downstairs, she would pay her rent and tell her, hold this bag. My mother threw it. They came up, sat us down. They asked us to leave. Went to 88th Street. 88th Street, we never got raided. When I moved to North Bergen, I would get raided. Before I got raided, the phone would ring. It'd be Carmine Balzano. Tell your mom to clean the house. I'd wake my mom up, tell her to clean the house, and come over here. I don't want you to see what's going to happen. Cops would come and arrest my mother. I would walk to Carmine's house with my basketball, right past the cops, and it was that easy. It was that easy.
Wow. Do you wish you ran into Joey before you started writing this?
It would have been a different book. He
Yeah.
wanted. Why I enjoyed this book so much is because no matter how much history this motherfucker dropped on you, he let you know who Jose Battle was. He kept you reminded who Jose Battle was. That's big for an author. He never got away from Jose Battle. And when you read the book, no matter what type of person you are, you kind of get mad at Jose Battle, but there's something about Jose Battle you like because you want that guy in your corner. That Narcos is an interesting. They did him right. I think this year they're going to Miami.
They killed it with Pablo. They killed it.
Killed it.
That guy's so good.
Killed it. And the guy I like that they hired was that dude that got like 2,000 years in jail. The one who ran the island. Like, his story is hilarious because he was a John Lennon fanatic.
Yeah.
And he was half German, so he was a Hitler. But he was Spanish. Okay? And he was...
Sounds like a Saturday Night Live sketch.
So when the feds went all extradite on these guys, they became the extraditables. This guy took to the radio, and they show scenes of him on the radio, fucking hot. Like, okay, so you cannot take us back to the United States because you're the #1 exporter of our product. And he's snoring. All of a sudden he sees like an assistant walk by, and he goes, "Hey, come here." And all of a sudden she just kneels down. She's blowing him on camera, and he's like, "Listen to me. You have to." He became nuts.
When was this?
Listen to what they did. Okay.
Hold on. Is there a video of this you can get?
Oh my God, Carlos Leder is a fucking lunatic. Carlos Leder was the one who went to Pablo and said, I'm gonna fly the coke back for you, but we're gonna make a stop on an island. So they bought an island. They fucking threw the doctor off. There was a white doctor. They're like, oh, nice to meet you. And they were like, listen, there's a whole story about it that's hysterical. The guy called the feds. There's something going on over there. They're doing pornographic. They're running in planes of blow.
Wow.
And there's this one, they bought everybody out, but there was this one white dude who was like, this is my island. I'm an American. I fought in World War II. I'm not leaving. And they're like, dog, we're going to fucking kill you. Okay? We're going to keep. And all night they were bringing in planes, refueling them, and sending them out. Carlos laid there.
What does it say? U.S. drug lord and Escobar partner laid there, released in Germany from prison. When was this?
Oh, my God. He's
Just
Germany.
now.
From Florida to Germany.
Oh, from Florida to Germany.
Because he's originally from Germany. His father was German. He's got 2,000 years. So what they did was this. It doesn't take a fucking genius. This kid got the island. He made them a bunch of money. But then he started doing a podcast from the island with cameras and naked women of him snorting coke with a robe on.
How old was he?
Who the fuck knows? 28, 30, just making $20 million a day. Think if you're making $20 million a day and you're just addicted to coke, there's bags of blow behind you. He's just ripping bags open, snorting them, just talking. He was a John Lennon fan. So he would talk about there he is. He would do these videos for hours, for days.
So he was like an original YouTube star.
Yeah, so what they did was, but he wasn't posting on YouTube.
But if he did, he would be
what
huge.
they did was,
He's MySpace boy.
He's the first one they gave up. When the shit got deep and the Colombians were in trouble, the 5 Colombians sat down. They said, listen, this kid's on an island talking about Jim Morrison in the Doors. Let's let the feds know where he's at. We'll give him you, and we got no beef. So they extradited laid there. They gave him 2,000 years.
Oh my God!
Look up the sentence. I'm not trying to be funny. They gave him 1,000 years.
So why would they extradite him to Germany?
Because he gave them information years later about. He gave them like vital. He gave them really great information that if the country fucking knew, we would sink. Like he gave them shit.
Like what?
He gave them information that he also, not beside having his island, that was also a distraction. His main contributor, his main supplier was Fidel. So Fidel was letting him go to Cuba, bring the coke to Cuba, stock it, and for every ship that went out from Cuba to the United States with a Cuban flag, Fidel would get a kickback of $800,000. Fidel was sending 3-4 ships a day. So he testified against Fidel, which obviously nobody ever arrested Fidel. And he told them everything he knew about the ins and outs of money moving. You could find it online, all the shit he had done.
This guy in Blow is based off of him.
And that guy in Blow is based on him.
He's a cellmate, George Young's cellmate in prison.
Isn't it funny? Like no one wants their son to do that, but everybody loves these movies.
Check this one out. Today's paper, front page of USA Today. Confessions of a lottery scammer. I brought this along. I thought it'd be interesting.
A lottery scammer?
This is a guy, big fat guy, 300 pounds, sitting on his ass in Iowa or somewhere, who was on his device, who figured out a way to intrude on some algorithm, and he started scamming different states. He scammed the state of Colorado out of $4.8 million. And
there he is.
A total of 16.5. Boy, you guys are good. 16.5 million. Now I'm thinking, if this guy had scammed the corporation led by Jose Miguel Battle, he'd be dead. He wouldn't be on the. He'd be on the obituary section.
Look what he says here. It was never my intent to start a full-out ticket scam.
Yeah.
He's sentenced up to 25 years in prison.
You could not scam organized crime in this way.
Well, how do you scam lottery? Like,
you figure out how the number is determined, and then you're able to play with it. You're able to play with it. See, in organized crime, you couldn't do that.
I don't understand that. How could he? Like, isn't there just a random system, a computer program or something that runs it?
Yeah, he found some way to tap into that computer system.
To tap into it, you mean to hack into it?
Hack into it and alter the number.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow, that is crazy. Yeah. What is fascinating to me is that what you were talking about earlier, what we're talking about like that it gave them an opportunity for hope and that it was a part of the community.
Oh, yeah.
We're missing that in the West Coast. The West Coast, like off-track betting, there's no fucking off-track betting here. There's a few weirdos that go to the Hollywood Park, but that's gone now. You know, I mean, there's nothing here.
Well, the West Coast never had this.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing like seeing that. Like I saw that, and I saw what goes with it, and it may sound ooky spooky to most people, but it's not ooky spooky to people who are really, really Sicilian and people who are very
normal.
Cuban. When you're Sicilian in that culture, there's women that you go to and they tell you things. They're witches. They're Sicilian witches. Whatever the fuck you want to. In Sleepers, remember he goes, bring the eyeballs to this lady.
What's Sleepers?
Sleepers is a movie about 4 Irish kids. That later was bullshit, but kind of.
I'm trying to remember that movie.
It's about the 4 kids.
De Niro plays a priest.
Brad Pitt, Jackie Gleason's grandson.
Yeah. Okay, there it is.
Barry Levinson movie.
And then they got the guy on Letterman, and he started backtracking like Steven Seagal about his CIA involvement.
Oh, really? Yeah.
They said Lorenzo Carcaterra.
Yeah.
He later on became.
He said it was a true story, and it was not a true story.
It was based, but if you look at it, weren't 2 or 4 of those 2 kids supposed to grow up to be Westies?
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like they're the 2 out of the 4 of those guys. What were we talking about?
We were talking about. Well, you were talking about
they're witches.
And he, in the Cuban world, it's the same thing. I want my kid to go to Catholic school.
Right.
If I play this fucking number today, this is gonna save me. We don't. When you're a comic, you have that hope. Tonight I'm gonna go to the Improv. Jess Sussman's gonna be there. Maybe, just maybe. But it's a ethnic hope that comes back from your country. It's hard to describe. You understand it because your grandmother was a fucking bookie. But if you talk to her on a daily basis about it and why she would play that particular number, like my mom played 517. Those were the last 3 numbers on my dad's gravestone. 604 was some other fucking hallucinogenic she had. If I go like this, and I go, you know what, you're looking good today. Here, go take a yardstick. Most Cubans look at it and go, give me $5 on 253 because it's the last 3 numbers of the 20 you fucking gave me.
Now, is this still going on?
Oh yeah,
the numbers are still going on.
Yeah,
not as a 10-man office. When I was a kid, it was a 10-man office. Yeah. You were downstairs. You had a bodega. Me and you ran the bodega. There's 2 U's and yesterday's paper. All we're selling a book of dreams. And then you come in and you give me 604, 517. It comes on 3 sheets of paper with copy paper. So right away, I rip the top one. I give it to you. I keep the other one, and the other one goes upstairs to the department where now there's a big wall with 0 to 9 on the wall, and I park there. So Joe just came up and played 219. There's 2, and all of a sudden there's a list that goes down. I'm a board guy. I just work the board. I got 6 guys with phones yelling numbers on me. Oh, yeah, Rogan fucking just put $100 on that number. That motherfucker killed me last week. Fuck that. Send $50 of that to Miami because I could unload it to create the utopia. When I take a sports bet, I'm taking $500 on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's playing New England. I can't take $10,000 on Pittsburgh and $5,000 on New England. That's not called a utopia. I'm going to make money on the VIG, the 10 points from you losing. So if you bet $10,000 on somebody and you bet 5, I unload 5 to another bank somewhere across town. So this is how, and I mean, when I was a kid, my mother had a bank in the Bronx, and the guy that cooked was Black Mike. He was a Vietnam vet. And I was 5, and he would give me $10 to go get him blackberry brandy. Black Mike cooked Italian food that was so fucking good. It was 1970. Even if you hated black people, you ate his spaghetti. Even Italians came to eat his spaghetti. On Wednesdays, he cooked corned beef. On Wednesdays, he made Cuban food. They have an office, and every phone has a little tape recorder with a wire connected to the phone, so you can't call me and say you played 218.
Yeah, it's recorded.
I'll fucking bust your
Yeah,
fucking head.
yeah, it's
I'll
recorded.
play the tape for you. So every hour the tapes come around, and I
And those
pick up
get
the
destroyed.
tapes, and those get destroyed the week after or that night after the
Everything's
thing.
settled.
But to see those offices in action when you're a kid, and I'm
Yeah.
going to get cigarettes, and they give me a 10 to go get a $3 pack of cigarettes, so I keep 7.
Now, did you ever see the money?
What do you mean the money?
Well, the money that was gathered?
I saw how the money would be taken upstairs.
Because that would be a separate location.
That would be a separate location.
Counting room.
Now, there's also, they move locations every week. You also have to stay ahead of the cops. So every week, you got a guy like Joe Rogan that just rents apartments for me. So every week, we move locations.
Yeah.
So nobody ever gets
amazing.
comfortable with 3 months at one place, then with 3 months in another place, then with 3 months in another place. Because not only do you have to worry about cops, you got to worry about Jamie getting a little fucking cocky.
Right.
Jamie found out from Joe Diaz that they make $40,000 a day. Jamie's going to go get 2 guns. Go get the 2 guns and try to go up there and see what happens, because they got 2 guys on the 3rd floor that just got 2 guns waiting for idiots like you to come upstairs to the 4th floor. It was surreal. It was surreal. So in the mornings, my mom would go, "You want to go to school today? Or you want to go with Mama to the Mets and go, yeah, get some fun?" I go, "I'm going with you." Because these bookies would all give me 20
Now-
and $40. It's part of their good look.
Now, check this out. At the end of the day, every day that this is going on, because betting is going on every day, 7 days a week, this system that Joey's talking about. So money's coming in, a lot of money's coming in. It goes to the counting rooms. So at the end of the day, you got a lot of money at like 200-300 different locations all around the New York area. What they would do is they have people whose responsibility it was to come around, collect the money. That money would go into a van, and that van would have a police escort as it left New York City, went through the tunnel, and in New Jersey, it was met by New Jersey police, who picked it up and escorted it from there into the apartments or the houses in Union City where the money was kept.
Crazy.
Wow. So the cops got paid.
So how can
Absolutely.
I tell you this at the age of 10? I knew this, but I could never tell you because
Right.
you wouldn't believe me. So I had
Right.
to keep it to myself.
Well, most of the kids wouldn't be able to shut the fuck up either
no,
because they
I
didn't grow
wouldn't.
up
I
in that
wasn't
culture.
allowed to talk about nothing
Of
in
course,
my world.
yeah.
In my world, I didn't. Where were you Saturday? We played handball all day. I had to go to a play with my uncle.
Well,
I was
later
in
on,
the Bronx.
you worked for a sports betting place too.
Later on, as I got older, but when I got out of high school, I was such a loser that I went to 118th Street. The guy's name was Chair, Jose Torres and his son. I went to them like a man. They were around the block to this guy named Raleigh and Miguel, and they ran a complete different operation from the corporation. Raleigh's still around. If I had any balls left, I'd go put a bullet in Raleigh's head because Raleigh was tight with my mother. My mother helped get Raleigh started on 118th Street. When my mother died, he got tight with my stepfather, and when my stepfather died, he took that money and gave it to my stepfather's sister. That money belonged to me. So today, I'm still pissed off at Raleigh because when I was a kid, I saw Raleigh every fucking day. He'd give me $50. Every time I went over there, those guys lived their life on a karma-based life. So whenever they see Joe Rogan, come here. You know how many things I did with your father? Come here. Here's $100. Go get your dick sucked. My mother would drive her crazy. Like, how much money did you get today? 200. Give me 100 of that. Because I used to buy knives and fucking stars to throw at people. You know. But that's their way. They're very generous, Joe Rogan. You know, you can't do that. When you come over to my house with your daughters, I can't. First thing as they do is put a 50 in everybody's hand. So now the girls know whenever they come over Uncle Joey's, they get a 50.
Right.
So even after you're not around, they'll come over. When they're 14 and they're going to go to Hollywood, they'll come over by Uncle Joey. Where you girls going? You girls got money? Here's 50. So I had people giving me money because it's a karma-based business. The more my mother would hit the number for 10,000, she'd give away 8.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the generosity part of it.
I like helping folks that, you know, I grew up in Queens, in Howard Beach, and it was, for whatever reason, organized crime capital of the world. And this is going to sound crazy, but my neighbor was one of the big bosses. And one day when I was preteens, he said to me, you know, the best thing we could do on this earth? I said, what? He said, help people. This is a guy that killed people for a living. And because that was his perspective was he was a protector, right? He would help people even though
Right.
From the outside, we know what they really do. But it stuck with me. You got to help people. Mm-hmm. So this was one of those people I helped.
Isn't it crazy that sometimes even people that are just, you would look at them, they're bad people. They have some good advice. Like, even morons can occasionally say something, you're like, huh, all right.
I got that.
You know, like every now and then, like even a real fool will say something that makes a whole lot of sense.
He changed my life, this guy. He said to me, my parents were going through a divorce. I'm 12 years old, and he wants to help me. So he says, come over. You're going to clean our swimming pool for us. I'm going to pay you $35 a week. So I come over on Saturday morning. He says, all right, the first lesson, he sit me down for lessons. First lesson is if you're going to come at 8 a.m., you show up 7:45, right? On time is late. Great lesson for life. Second lesson is if I'm paying you to clean the pool, I want you to straighten up the shed, straighten up all the lawn furniture, clean the windows, do whatever the fuck you have to do, but make it so that when I get home, I can't live without you. You are, irreplaceable as far as a service provider. And number 3, never ask for money. You'll get paid if you do a good job. And it just stuck with me for life. And really, really good lessons from like you say, like a most unlikely source of advice.
Well, not all mob people are bad people. That sounds like a crazy thing to say, but,
Right.
I've known quite a few of them in my life, and some of them were genuinely good guys. They were just in a fucked up line of work.
They're a fucked up line of work.
Well, a lot of them thought of themselves as soldiers. They really did. They thought of themselves as soldiers in an ancient war that, we're not going to understand. We're not talking about people that are, shaking people down for money. I'm talking about, people who were doing work for other organized crime, and they looked at the government as criminals as well. They were like, they're all criminals. Wall Street, you don't think they're fucking criminals?
That was the exact, as a young person growing up in that was the exact narrative I heard as I was being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
That the government was just as bad. They kill people. From these guys is what they were saying to me. Wall Street does it with a pen. Mm-hmm. What the fuck are you looking at?
Cops plant evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm not defending them.
No, but that was
good
their...
that the mob's not around, but they did a great job with Vegas.
They did a good job with Vegas.
They ran Vegas very nice.
This guy ended up giving me 700 customers by the time I graduated college that were...
Oh, so you had a whole pool cleaning business by then?
I had a giant business,
wow.
Knock on wood, that were mostly connected to... and I became friends with all these guys.
Wow.
And could just go in anybody's... It was pretty unbelievable. It's pretty surreal thinking back. And I who wouldn't want to be that? You're a young kid. You're in this neighborhood. They got money, respect, beautiful cars. Like, I want to be that.
That's the problem with that, and with young kids growing up around gang members or drug dealers. Like, you look at that and you're like, they have things that I don't have, and they live this life. They get respect from people.
Yeah.
They're feared.
Yeah.
It looks attractive.
And one of the boss's wives said to me one day, because I was alluding to, like, how do I get my make my bones? And she said, this isn't for... I had red hair, light skin. Everybody else had dark hair, dark skin. And this isn't for you. You stick with cleaning pools. This was from the wife
Oh, good
of
for
one
her.
of the bosses. So, that kind of set me straight.
And say what you want about Giuliani, who now is batshit crazy.
What happened with him?
I don't know. I think there's
something blew a fuse. He's not respectable anymore.
He's like some kind of... Well, he aligned himself with Trump, so that immediately gets you put into a category. But
Why
he's
do you think
also
he
a
did
little...
that?
I think he's got some dementia going on. Like, he just doesn't seem right.
You know what it is? Lost his comb over.
He had a comb over for what is that like? What's his name?
He gave up
with
on the comb over, and he realized, oh my God, I'm fucking crazy.
Samson's hair. It's like that. He lost the last wisps. Those last wisps of comb over.
Yeah.
That he had
Neil
during
Hamburger
9/11
thing going on.
Yeah. He was at one point, after 9/11, they called 9/10/2001. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
No one liked Giuliani.
Yeah.
He ruined New York. He ruined it by commercializing it, cleaning up all the porn theaters, getting rid of the tunnel bunnies and the squeegee guys. Like,
Yep.
he went on a tear. just gave the police department carte blanche to start racking head and taking care of business. It cleaned up New York. Times Square turned into a Disney-type atmosphere instead of that drug-addled fucking mess that it was. And people hated him for kind of ruining that gritty New York that we saw in Taxi Driver and shit. And then 9/11... he was America's mayor. That's what they called him. Yeah. America's mayor. He's going out of Yankee games and ovations and people. He's standing with the there he is, his comb over.
He looks like a crazy person on the right.
Yeah, yeah.
He just totally shaved his head. If I talk to him, I say, listen, bro, there's a lot of power in just shaving your head.
Just shave that head, motherfucker.
Yeah, you feel good. You feel like a guy who has like hair on the side of his head. Unless you do a lot of drugs like Hunter S. Thompson, it's hard to pull that off.
You can't pull that off. I think, yeah. Who
Look at him
pulls
at the
it off?
upper right-hand side. That's a comb over in the beginning. No,
Yeah.
above that, to the right with a suit. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it's first started.
That's the full
That's
comb
like a
over.
preposterous.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
that's working it from the
Jesus.
back. Like, hey,
And what did
buddy.
he do? Did he try to get plugs or something in the front?
I don't think so.
I don't know what that is.
It's just rocking that full, strong comb over.
That is, he had a lot to do with the getting rid of organized crime in New
Yes.
York City.
Yeah.
Like the Mafia, the five families, all that shit was still running pretty rampant throughout the 70s and 80s. As a kid, me and my brother used to laugh our asses off. We'd open the newspaper, and there was like, Johnny the Horse Bugliotti was found dead and stuff. We would laugh our asses off at the names.
Yeah.
Like, just those mob names. It's hilarious. And that scene in Goodfellas at the beginning when they're just going through and, you know, the nose and Killer and this guy, and they all have those fucking names that are hilarious. And, Giuliani was a big part of that. I'm surprised they didn't kill him. Like, he was absolutely responsible. He kept going after them and kept putting them away with the new RICO statutes that they had, and locked up a lot of mobsters, man. So,
well, another problem with the mobsters is they started ratting on each other.
Yeah.
As soon as you start ratting on each other, all your mystique is gone. Your whole legend is gone. The whole thing is that you guys have omerta. You keep your fucking mouth shut. You do your time like a man.
Right.
And then you get out and you're a hero. And this whole thing keeps going. This thing of ours keeps going.
This thing of ours.
But those fucking pussies didn't want to go to jail.
Isn't that something? Like the old school guys would be offered, you could walk, or you could get a really easy sentence, just talk. Oh, fuck your mother.
Yeah.
And then, they reach the point where it's like, I'm not built for prison. No.
But when they would put him in prison, though, it was like in Goodfellas.
Right.
They would be able to cook, and they paid the guards off. They had a sweet setup. Mm-hmm. The internet ruined all that, too.
Yeah.
The internet. Well, it was probably all dead before the internet. But like Sammy the Bull Gravano, he was free. He did his time, the minimum amount of time. He killed at least 10 people.
Murdered people. Yeah.
And he confessed to them. Talked about the murders that he did and how he did them.
He wanted Gotti so bad. They wanted Gotti so bad.
Sammy the Bull Gravano was a fucking straight up psychopath.
Yeah.
It's total serial killer.
Yeah.
And they let him walk, and then he got arrested eventually for selling ecstasy in Phoenix. He moved to Phoenix after that.
Yeah. And then he
was running shit down there.
And how did he just not get whacked out? Like what?
Because the mob was gone.
They all were gone, and no one cared.
Dissipated. It had all crumbled.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Just like poof, went away.
Well, the thing, like Gotti was the first one that was like real flashy in public about it all.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
Vincent the Chin always used to walk around like a crazy person in the bathrobe, pretend he was nuts. But he would give people directions while he was doing that. But he felt like everything was being bugged. So what they would do is they'd bug cars along his walking route, so they could record him.
That is hilarious.
They knew what he was doing.
Jesus. There's always a way.
Yeah.
There's always a way to get you. Yeah, the mystique was gone, though. Yeah.
It wasn't really... Like, the Russians still have the mystique. Russian mobsters...
They are brutal, too.
They're the scary ones.
Like, they are the scary ones.
Yeah,
there's
the scary ones now.
a worse mob. Because regardless of what it turned into, there was a time where the Italian mob did have a line. Like, you didn't cross. Family, things like that. But the Russians, oh my God, will they fuck up an entire family? The dog, everything gets killed in the worst way. Yeah, they're scary, scary motherfuckers. I had an experience out. It was Broadway, I guess, and they have those pedal cabs that go around, and they're all Russian dudes, big fucking legs on them. They pedal around, and I was looking for a cab, a real cab, to take me downtown. I wasn't going to ride 15 blocks in a tricycle with Yuri pedaling in front of me. So this guy passed by once and said, "Do you need the cab?" I was like, "No, I'm good, thanks." Comes around again. I'm still waiting for a cab, and he goes, "Cab?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna have you pedal me 15 fucking blocks. No, move." And you could yell at a cab driver in New York. They'll yell out your window and stuff. They rarely will get out of their car. They know, you got the medallion right there. You could just call the number and say you were being harassed by a cab driver. So they won't do anything. This guy gets off his fucking bike. "You have a fucking problem? You have a fucking problem?" What? And I was just like, "Oh shit, it's going down." Like this guy means business. And of course I'm like, "No, all good, all good. I thank you. I don't need a cab." "You're right, motherfucker." And that was it. But you don't fuck with Russians.
No, they're not regular white people.
No, they're not.
You cook? I don't cook much, no.
No?
No. And I don't eat anything. Listen, I eat
Not
steak.
much or sometimes?
I could do something. I could make breakfast.
Like what? What's your
I
go-to?
could make fucking eggs. I could do something here if I got
Did you
I could
ever
make
work as a
sauce.
cook? Like a short order cook? That kind of thing? You were a clam shucker, right? You
I
told me
worked at
that.
Umberto's Clam House when I was in high school.
Did you
I
really?
used
What
to
is
be able
that?
to open clams. When you would order, I used to be incredible at them.
Yeah?
Umberto's Clam House was where they killed Joe Gallo.
Oh, wow.
But they had a second one in Brooklyn where I grew up. And
No, but Gallo was killed on Mulberry Street.
Mulberry Street. There was one on Mulberry Street, Umberto's Clam House. It became famous after that. And then there was one in Brooklyn. And I was like 15, and we used to hang around on the corner, and they were building it. And there was like a guy, we were all hanging around getting into fucking trouble, a bunch of kids. And he pulled out a big wad of money one day. I mean, like fucking hundreds. And he said, come here. Come on, get the fuck out of here. Take them to the movies. Wow. Back then, a movie was probably $1, And I said, no, I want a job. I don't want your money. And I gave him he was Matty the Horse, which was a big wise guy's brother, Joe.
Wow.
And he kind of became like a mentor. He was like a really good guy. Gave me a job. I learned how to open clams, bake clams, clams for the linguine and clams, raw clams on the half shell. Squeeze the lemon, the thing.
Did being around a lot of those guys when you were younger, did that help you when you were in The Sopranos? Did it help you, like, sort of, because you knew people like that?
Yeah, I grew up in that neighborhood. Like, where I grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, at the time in the 70s, was all a big mob enclave. Big. They were everywhere. And you didn't even know who they were. Like Joey's uncle. And this is a guy that I went to Little League with, wind up doing 25 years for murder. And they were just in the neighborhood. They were just, so yeah, I knew that world. I wasn't in that world. I went to college, but I knew that world. I know people, I have friends, it was just that kind of a place, where you just knew them. And somebody was just telling me 2 days ago, the guy, owned a store, like an Italian deli, ravioli store, and I didn't know that he was a hitman. And he sent me an article, and he murdered two fucking guys in Coney Island. Yeah, this guy named Pete, and I had no idea about that. And I said, really? He lived up the block from me. I didn't know that. Because, when you're a kid, there was he was coaching the baseball team. Then you found out later. I said, I didn't know the guy was a wise guy, like a real guy. And they were everywhere. They sold fireworks, and it was that whole thing. It was all Italian American, and it's changed now. It's not a little bit of that, but not as much as it used to be.
Well, when John Gotti was in his heyday, it was a very strange time for like Italian Americans in New York because that whole area, like when he would have those block parties, and people, there was part of the people that would love him.
Oh, yeah.
Loved that.
To this day.
Yeah.
To this day, absolutely. I was gone. I left for Vegas in 79, 80. So I was gone through all them 80s. I was in Vegas with those wise guys.
Right.
And I knew some of them. We talked about it last time I was here. The Pesci character, Tony Spilaccio, who was always very nice to me. I mean, he was giving me a 20 every time I saw him. He's all right in my book.
But it's interesting, like the Gotti character, him as a person was very strange. Do you know his grandson is a badass MMA fighter?
Oh, no, I didn't know
His
that.
grandson, John Gotti III, I think it is a legit MMA fighter. He's really fucking good. He's shredded. The kid looks like a fucking killer. I mean, he looks like an MMA fighter, covered in tattoos. I think he's undefeated, and I think he's got the majority of his fights, if not all of them, are by knockout.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy.
Listen, people love him. I never met John Gotti. He did a lot of good for a lot of people. Listen, you could only judge someone by how they treat you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because people go, well, how could you, blah, blah, blah. Hey, he was good to a lot of people.
But he was known to be a good fighter, too, John.
But John was? Yeah.
He can't, that's how he kind of came up. He was very good with his hands. He was, toe-to-toe and was pretty nifty as a fighter. Yeah.
He was very public, though.
Yeah.
That was the thing that the old guard didn't
when
like.
he became.
But he was flashy when he became the boss. He was like this guy that made a big show of who he was versus a lot of these guys like Vincent the Chin would act crazy and walk around in a bathrobe.
No,
They wanted
Gotti
to
was
keep
like
it-
Al Capone.
Yeah.
But at least he enjoyed himself. These other guys, some of these other guys, he enjoyed himself. He was out to restaurants, good
Yeah.
look. He had movie star looks. At least he enjoyed himself. He had a nice family.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are holed up. They have millions of dollars and they live in like some shit 1-bedroom tenement.
Like
It's
Uncle Junior.
Like Uncle Junior.
Right.
He lives like this shitty life. He's getting hundreds of thousands
Right.
here and there. It's like, why are you living like that? You might as well go out and enjoy it, right?
Right. And they still get caught. Even the guys who live like shit, they still get caught.
Those old timers, those old timers used to just, I don't know what they did with the money.
Well, they were trying to avoid prosecution.
Yeah, but
Didn't work out.
almost every mobster, unfortunately, winds up dead or in jail.
Yeah. Yeah.